The year is halfway over already. And this year, like the last few, a lot of stuff has come out. We no longer live in the world of summer blockbusters and Oscar bait season. It's all content all the time, baby! One trip on the content tube, everyone. In our constant state of new films, television, and all forms of media coming out at all times, we are still getting interesting works that are worth talking about. You just have to dig a little to find them sometimes. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk about them. I'm going to go through what I've seen so far this year, and I'm going to have some fun with it. Some light spoilers ahead, timestamps below. Let's do this. I made a handful of videos at the start of this year leading into new releases of film franchises, so let's start there. It's funny how all three of them are different takes on the end of their respective franchises. Dial of Destiny, for example, is one last ride for everyone's best friend Indy, and in many ways it is playing the hits on a farewell tour. It's something fun, but safe. Then we have Guardians 3. A film that brings an end to the Guardians trilogy, James Gunn's tenure with Marvel as a whole, and this lineup of the Guardians. You'd expect this to be a heartbreaking farewell to the hardcore fans of the series, and it was. And they did that without killing anyone off. In our modern film landscape, we have characters getting killed off for emotional gut punches all the time, but where characters die off, they then come back, and this film, not playing to that, felt like a breath of fresh air, honestly. Like, for real. And that brings us to John Wick 4, a film that did kill off its lead, but has an apparent fifth film in the works. This is still my favorite of the three here. It showed off that Chad Stahelski and his team haven't run out of ideas, because the action in this rips, and there's still a lot of creativity to be found within the sequences. That fully overhead one, wow. And while there is this supposed fifth film in the works, Chapter 4 does feel like the end of a story arc in a really gratifying way. If they never made another, it would work well, even without the character's supposed death. Hopefully, if this series does come back, it will find a way to take things in a new, fresh direction for this second wave, in the same way the first film did at the beginning.
Greg, when's the next X movie coming out?
Probably like next year? They filmed it recently, I think.
I'm ready for more of my Goth and horror movies, so...
Well, you know what you should watch then. I was honestly surprised Infinity Pool was seemingly passed over this year. It's a horror film featuring a gonzo performance by Mia Goth, a year after that 1-2 punch of X and Pearl that really blew her up. Hell, she was even a TikTok sound.
Oh, I'm a star! Please, I'm a star!
Yet somehow, the movie didn't hit the mainstream. A shame if you ask me, because Brendan Cronenberg delivered a wholly original film that gets under your skin in a way that your mainstream films can't. Hell, all his films have. But this one was, intentionally or not, positioned to be a breakout movie for him beyond what he had made before. Not that he needs it, he seems to be doing just fine for himself, making art that both feels in step with his father's early works, while not feeling like a pale imitator either. I recommend it if you're into the strange and unusual. I am so behind on TV this year, to the point where I had to double check when Andor came out to see if I could talk about that. I've already gone over Succession recently, and I do think that that is still the best season of television that 2023 has given me so far. That said, I haven't seen The Bear yet.
Oh, boo your shit.
Not my fault this time, because as of writing this, the season is not out in Canada yet, and that's where I am, if you were wondering why I bring that up. Canada. I'm in Canada. I'm looking forward to that, as the first season was tremendous. The cinematography, acting, writing, all the things that I praised for being so good and fresh in Succession for that video, I can praise here in its own way. I just love when a show feels like a full creative vision from its creative team. And I am taking suggestions for other great shows. I think I might tackle Barry next, unless I'm swayed elsewhere. Hey man, what's up?
Hey dude, thanks again for those the recommendations. You know, the wife and I,
Okay, I've got to ask. You're only referring to her as your wife? Like, I get that you're excited about being married and everything, but you know you can call her by name, right?
No, I can't.
Okay, that raises another question.
I like your hair.
Wait, how can you see it? I try my best to check out movies that exist outside of the zeitgeisty discussions, not because I want 2010's hipster cred, but because there's a lot you gain from watching films that are not being bombarded with everyone else's opinions online. Back in 2023, that's how I fell in love with the movie Side Effects, and in turn grew an appreciation for Steven Soderbergh, but I digress. One of those non-zeitgeisty films that I saw this year was Hidden Blade. It caught my eye at the theater because it stars Tony Leung, a treasure of an actor, and he really delivers. The film is a 40s set spy thriller full of twists, turns, and characters whose motivations are unclear until their last moments. If you like films like The Departed, I really gotta stress that this is your kind of movie. Check it out. On the flip side, Past Lives is a beautifully subtle film. Its charm comes from the slight nuances in the writing and performances, small pauses as characters figure out what they should or shouldn't say and process their feelings. It's a refreshing take on a story like this, where none of the characters make bold declarations or scream their thoughts out to one another. While I've never been in a situation like the characters in this film, I do feel that the tone is closer to my life experiences, and I really appreciated that. How can you see it?
Instagram.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. You should watch Blackberry. Honestly, Blackberry is so good. To quote my own tweet on the film, because I think I said it well there, Matt Johnson took what could have been a boring social network imitator and filled it with so much life and energy. And he really did manage to take what could have been a bloated info dump of a film and trim the story to be both extremely lean and wildly entertaining. The actors and camera work alike are supercharged with energy, really showing off what can be done both comedically and dramatically. It's the kind of movie I imagine Moneyball would have been if Soderbergh had never left the project. Crazy that it keeps coming up. Honestly, we've gotten a few corporate movies this year with Air and Flaming Hot Cheetos movie, which I don't know if that's a joke or not, but I think it's hilarious that it exists. I should really watch it. But comparatively to Air, which itself was a good film, Blackberry just feels like something different. The jokes being made camera-wise are brilliant. The performances are understated in some ways and overstated in other ways with a perfect balance. It's upsetting to me that the film, while doing decently for itself, isn't getting the recognition that I think it deserves, because out of everything that's come out this year, so far, Blackberry's been my favorite, and I just hope that as it goes on to streaming and becomes something that people can discover on their own and watch in the comfort of their home, that they realize that this movie is special. It has a voice of its own that is so rare in films these days. And honestly, I just really need films like this with such strong artistic vision to keep getting made. And that's all for this one. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments all the stuff about the best movies you've seen this year, what the best movie I mentioned was, what I left out that you wish I hadn't, and like I said, TV show recommendations, because I'm looking for those right now. And until next time, have a good one.